A poor homeless boy and a pregnant woman in danger. Their worlds were different. Their lives were far apart. But one act of courage brought them together in a way no one expected. When a billionaire discovered this homeless boy had saved his wife's life, what he did next shocked everyone. Sit back, relax, and find out as we delve into this emotional story. In the busy streets of Lagos, there lived a young boy named Daniel. He was only 12 years old, but life had already taught him hard lessons. Daniel had no home. He had no family. His parents died when he was very young, and since then, he lived on the streets, surviving day by day. He slept under bridges, ate from garbage bins, and wore the same torn shirt and shorts every single day. But despite his suffering, Daniel had something special. He had a kind heart. He helped people when he could, even when he had nothing to give. Some people called him foolish. Others ignored him completely. But Daniel never stopped being kind. One hot afternoon, Daniel was walking through a crowded market. The sun was burning his skin, and his stomach was empty. He had not eaten anything that morning. He kept walking, hoping someone would give him food or a few coins. As he moved through the crowd, his eyes caught something strange. A woman was standing beside a fruit stall. She was holding her stomach with both hands. Her face was twisted in pain. Sweat poured down her forehead. She looked around, her eyes wide with fear. No one noticed her. People just walked past, busy with their own lives. Daniel stopped. He watched her closely. Then suddenly, the woman's legs shook. She stumbled forward and fell to her knees. "Help," she whispered weakly. "Please, somebody help me." But the crowd kept moving. No one stopped. No one cared. Daniel's heart began to beat fast. He ran toward her immediately. He knelt beside her and spoke gently. "Madam, are you okay? What is wrong?" The woman looked at him. Her eyes were filled with tears. "I'm pregnant," she said, her voice shaking. "The baby. Something is wrong. I need to get to the hospital. Please, please help me." Daniel's hands trembled. He looked around. "Someone, please help us," he shouted. But people only stared for a moment, then walked away. Some shook their heads. Some whispered to each other. No one came forward. Daniel swallowed hard. He looked at the woman again. Her breathing was becoming faster. Her face was pale. He knew she did not have much time. "Okay, madam," he said firmly. "I will help you. Don't worry." He stood up and looked around for a taxi. There were many on the road, but when Daniel waved at them, they saw his dirty clothes and drove past without stopping. One driver even shouted, "Go away, street boy." Daniel felt his chest tighten, but he did not give up. He saw a taxi parked nearby. The driver was eating something inside. Daniel ran to him and knocked on the window. The driver looked annoyed. "What do you want?" he asked rudely. "Please, sir," Daniel said quickly. "There's a pregnant woman over there. She is in pain. She needs to go to the hospital. Please, sir, help us." The driver looked past Daniel and saw the woman on the ground. He frowned. "And who will pay me?" he asked coldly. Daniel's face fell. I don't have money, sir. But please, she might die." The driver shook his head. "No money, no ride. Move away." He started his engine. Daniel's eyes filled with tears, but he did not move. "Please, sir, I am begging you. Just take her to the hospital. I will work for you. I will wash your car every day. Please." The driver paused. He looked at Daniel's face, then at the woman. He sighed heavily. "Fine, but you better keep your promise, boy." Daniel's face brightened. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." Daniel ran back to the woman and helped her stand. She was heavy and Daniel was small, but he used all his strength. Slowly, step by step, he brought her to the taxi. The driver opened the back door and Daniel carefully helped her inside. Then he climbed in beside her. "Which hospital?" the driver asked. The woman whispered the name of a hospital, but her voice was so weak that Daniel had to repeat it louder. The driver nodded and drove off quickly. Inside the car, the woman was breathing hard. Her hands gripped her stomach tightly. Daniel held her hand gently. "You will be okay, madam," he said softly. "We are going to the hospital now. Just hold on." The woman looked at him with tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much." Daniel just nodded. His heart was pounding. He prayed silently that they would reach the hospital in time. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, they arrived. The driver stopped at the emergency entrance. Daniel jumped out and ran inside. "Please, help. There's a pregnant woman outside. She is in pain." 2 nurses came out immediately with a stretcher. They brought the woman inside quickly. Doctors surrounded her. One of them looked at Daniel. "Are you her son?" the doctor asked. Daniel shook his head. "No, sir. I just found her on the street. She needed help." The doctor nodded and hurried away. Daniel stood there in the hospital corridor, alone. His heart was still racing. He had no money. He could not pay for anything. He just hoped the woman would be okay. Hours passed. Daniel sat on the cold hospital floor. His stomach growled with hunger, but he did not leave. He wanted to know if the woman was safe. Finally, a nurse came out. She looked around and saw Daniel. "Are you the boy who brought the pregnant woman?" she asked. Daniel stood up quickly. "Yes, Ma. Is she okay?" The nurse smiled warmly. "Yes, she is stable now. The baby is safe, too. You saved her life. If you had come a few minutes later, she and the baby would have died." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. He did not know what to say. The nurse touched his shoulder gently. "You are a brave boy. What is your name?" "Daniel, Ma." "Well, Daniel, you did a good thing today. God will bless you." Daniel nodded slowly. The nurse went back inside. Daniel stood there for a moment, then turned to leave. As he walked toward the exit, he saw the taxi driver waiting outside. The driver looked at him and sighed. "You kept your word, boy. From tomorrow, come to my taxi stand. You will wash my car every morning." Daniel smiled a little. "Yes, sir." "Thank you, sir." The driver nodded and drove away. Daniel walked back into the streets. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and red. Daniel had no food, no home, but his heart felt light. He had saved a life. That night, he slept under a bridge with a small smile on his face. 2 days later, inside a large, beautiful house on the other side of the city, a man named Mr. Samuel sat in his study. He was a billionaire. He owned companies, hotels, and properties across the country. People called him one of the richest men in Nigeria. But that morning, his face was full of worry. His wife, Mrs. Clara, was still in the hospital. She had been rushed there 2 days ago after collapsing in the market. The doctors said she and the baby almost died, but someone had helped her. A young boy. Mr. Samuel did not know who the boy was, but he wanted to find him. He wanted to thank him. He wanted to reward him. That morning, he called his personal assistant. "Find the boy who saved my wife," he said firmly. "I don't care how long it takes. Find him." The assistant nodded. "Yes, sir. I will start immediately." Mr. Samuel leaned back in his chair. His eyes were serious. "That boy saved the most important person in my life. I will not forget that." Meanwhile, Daniel was at the taxi stand, washing the driver's car just as he promised. His hands were soapy and his clothes were wet, but he worked hard. Other drivers laughed at him. "Look at the street boy," one of them said mockingly. "Working like a slave." Daniel ignored them. He focused on his work. When he finished, the taxi driver gave him a small smile and handed him 20 naira. "Good job, boy. Come back tomorrow." Daniel took the money gratefully. "Thank you, sir." That 20 naira bought him a small loaf of bread. It was not much, but it was enough to stop his stomach from hurting. As he ate, he thought about the woman he saved. He wondered if she was okay now. He wondered if her baby was healthy. He did not know that at that very moment, people were searching for him all over the city. Mr. Samuel's assistant went to the hospital first. He spoke to the nurses and doctors. They told him about the boy. He was small, maybe 12 years old. His clothes were torn and dirty. He looked like a street child. The assistant wrote everything down. Then he went to the market where Mrs. Clara had collapsed. He asked the fruit sellers, the shop owners, the people on the street. Some remembered seeing a boy helping a pregnant woman. "Yes, I saw him," one woman said. "He was shouting for help, but no one listened." Poor boy. The assistant continued searching. He went to different streets, asking, looking. Days passed. Then finally, One afternoon, someone pointed him toward the taxi stand. "There's a boy who washes cars there every morning. He fits the description." The assistant's heart jumped. He drove to the taxi stand immediately. When he arrived, he saw a small boy washing a car. The boy's clothes were torn. His hair was rough, but his face looked peaceful. The assistant stepped out of his car and walked toward him. "Excuse me," he said gently. "Are you Daniel?" Daniel looked up, surprised. "Yes, sir. I am Daniel." The assistant smiled. "I have been looking for you." Daniel did not understand. "Looking for me? Why, sir?" The assistant knelt down so he could look Daniel in the eyes. "2 days ago, you helped a pregnant woman. You took her to the hospital. Do you remember?" Daniel's eyes widened. "Yes, sir. Is she okay? Is the baby okay?" The assistant nodded with a warm smile. "Yes, because of you, they are both alive. The woman you saved is Mrs. Clara. She is the wife of Mr. Samuel, one of the richest men in this country. He has been searching for you. He wants to meet you." Daniel's mouth opened slightly. He could not believe what he was hearing. "Me? He wants to meet me?" "Yes, come with me. He is waiting." Daniel looked down at his dirty clothes. But I am not clean, sir. I cannot go like this." The assistant shook his head. "It does not matter. Just come. Mr. Samuel does not care about clothes. He cares about your heart." Daniel hesitated, then nodded slowly. He put down the sponge and followed the assistant to the car. As they drove through the city, Daniel looked out the window. His heart was beating fast. He did not know what to expect. He did not know what would happen next. But deep inside, he felt something he had not felt in a long time: hope. When they arrived at Mr. Samuel's mansion, Daniel's eyes grew wide. The house was bigger than anything he had ever seen. The gates were tall and golden. The compound was filled with flowers and trees. Security men stood at the entrance. The assistant led Daniel inside. The floors were shiny. The walls were decorated with paintings. Everything looked expensive. Daniel felt small. He felt out of place, but he kept walking. They reached a large sitting room. There, sitting on a big sofa, was a man in a fine suit. His face was strong, but his eyes were kind. It was Mr. Samuel. When he saw Daniel, he stood up immediately. Daniel stopped walking. He did not know what to do. Mr. Samuel walked toward him slowly. Then, to Daniel's shock, Mr. Samuel knelt down in front of him. "Thank you," Mr. Samuel said, his voice shaking. "Thank you for saving my wife and my child." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. Sir, please stand up. You don't have to kneel for me." But Mr. Samuel stayed there. "You gave me the most precious gift. You gave me my family. I will never forget that." Then he stood and placed both hands on Daniel's shoulders. "From today, you are not alone anymore. You will live here with us. You will go to school. You will have food, clothes, everything you need. You are part of this family now." Daniel could not speak. Tears ran down his face. He had lived on the streets for so long. He had suffered so much. And now this man, this powerful man, was telling him he had a home. Mr. Samuel smiled gently. "Come, let me take you to your room." He led Daniel upstairs. They walked down a long hallway and stopped at a door. Mr. Samuel opened it. Inside was a beautiful room. There was a bed with soft blankets, a wardrobe, a desk, and even toys on the shelf. Daniel stepped inside slowly. He touched the bed. It was soft. He looked round. Everything was clean. Everything was new. He turned to Mr. Samuel, his voice barely a whisper. Is this really for me?" Mr. Samuel nodded. "Yes, Daniel. This is your room. This is your home now." Daniel fell to his knees and began to cry. He cried for all the nights he slept in the cold. He cried for all the days he went hungry. He cried because finally, after so long, someone cared. Mr. Samuel knelt beside him and held him gently. "You are safe now, Daniel. You are loved now." A few days later, Mrs. Clara came home from the hospital. She was healthy. Her baby was growing well inside her. When she heard the full story of what Daniel did, she asked to meet him. Daniel was nervous. He stood in the living room, his hands shaking. Then Mrs. Clara walked in. She was beautiful, and her face was full of warmth. When she saw Daniel, her eyes filled with tears. She walked toward him and hugged him tightly. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for saving us." Daniel hugged her back. "I am just happy you are okay, Ma." Mrs. Clara pulled back and looked at him. "You are a hero, Daniel. And from now on, you are my son, too." Daniel's heart felt full. For the first time in his life, he felt like he belonged. Weeks passed. Daniel was enrolled in one of the best schools in the city. He wore a clean uniform. He carried new books. He had friends. He had teachers who cared. Every evening, he came home to a warm meal and a family that loved him. Mr. Samuel and Mrs. Clara treated him like their own child. They celebrated his birthdays. They prayed with him. They laughed with him. But even in all this happiness, Daniel never forgot where he came from. He never forgot the streets, the hunger, the cold nights. One Saturday morning, Daniel woke up early. He walked to Mr. Samuel's study and knocked gently on the door. "Come in," Mr. Samuel called. Daniel entered slowly. Mr. Samuel looked up from his papers and smiled. "Good morning, Daniel. Is everything okay?" Daniel nodded. "Yes, sir. But I want to ask you something." "Of course. Sit down." Daniel sat on the chair across from Mr. Samuel. He took a deep breath. "Sir, I know many children are still on the streets. They are suffering just like I was. I want to help them. Can we do something for them?" Mr. Samuel's eyes softened. He leaned back in his chair and studied Daniel's face. "You have a kind heart, Daniel. Even after everything you went through, you still think about others." Daniel looked down. "I just don't want them to feel alone, sir. I know how that feels." Mr. Samuel stood up and walked around the desk. He placed his hand on Daniel's shoulder. "Then we will do something. We will build a place for them, a home where they can be safe, go to school, and have a future." Daniel's eyes lit up. "Really, sir?" "Yes, and you will help me plan it. You know what they need better than anyone." Daniel's smile was so bright that it filled the whole room. From that day, Mr. Samuel began working on the project. He bought land. He hired builders. He worked with the government. And Daniel was involved in every step. He helped choose the colors for the walls. He suggested what kind of food should be served. He even helped design the playground. Months passed, and the home was completed. It was beautiful. It had clean rooms, a kitchen, a library, a playground, and classrooms. They named it Daniel's Hope Home. On the opening day, many children from the streets were brought to the home. They looked scared at first, just like Daniel had been. But when they saw the smiling faces, the warm food, and the clean beds, their fear turned into joy. Daniel walked among them, talking to each child, telling them they were safe now. One little girl held his hand and asked, "Will you stay with us?" Daniel knelt down and smiled. "I will visit you every day, and I will make sure you are always taken care of." That night, Mr. Samuel, Mrs. Clara, and Daniel stood outside the home, watching the children play and laugh. Mrs. Clara, now holding her newborn baby boy in her arms, turned to Daniel. "You have changed so many lives, Daniel. Not just ours, but theirs too." Daniel looked at the children and whispered, "I just did what someone did for me. I gave them hope." Mr. Samuel put his arm around Daniel's shoulder. "You are more than a son to me, Daniel. You are a blessing, and I will make sure you have everything you need to continue helping others." Years later, Daniel grew into a strong, intelligent young man. He graduated from university with honors. He became a doctor, dedicating his life to helping others just as he had once helped a stranger in the market. During his graduation ceremony, Mr. Samuel and Mrs. Clara sat in the front row, clapping loudly. Tears of pride filled their eyes. After the ceremony, reporters surrounded Daniel. One of them asked, "Dr. Daniel, you were once a homeless boy. Now you are a doctor. What kept you going?" Daniel smiled and looked at Mr. Samuel and Mrs. Clara. "Love," he said simply. "When I had nothing, I still chose to help someone. And because of that one act of kindness, my entire life changed. That taught me that no matter how small you are, no matter how little you have, you can still make a difference. Kindness is the most powerful thing in the world." The crowd clapped. Mr. Samuel walked up to Daniel and hugged him tightly. "I am proud of you, son," he whispered. Daniel whispered back, "Thank you for giving me a chance, Father." Mrs. Clara joined them, and together with their son, now a young boy himself, they stood as a complete family. A family built not by blood, but by love, kindness, and gratitude. As the years continued, Daniel never stopped helping others. He opened free medical clinics in poor neighborhoods. He sponsored hundreds of children through school. He became a voice for the voiceless, always remembering the boy he used to be. And Mr. Samuel stood beside him every step of the way, funding his projects, supporting his dreams, and loving him as a true father. The taxi driver who had helped Daniel that first day also received his reward. Mr. Samuel found him and gave him a brand new taxi and enough money to start his own transport business. The driver cried and thanked Daniel over and over. "You kept your promise to me," the driver said, "and now God has kept his promise to you." Daniel smiled. "We both did the right thing that day." That's all that matters. In life, blessings come when you least expect them. Daniel had nothing. No home, no family, no future. But he had a kind heart, and that kindness opened doors he never dreamed of. This story teaches us that we must never look down on anyone. You never know who God will use to bless you. Sometimes the person you ignore is the one who will change your life. Kindness is powerful. It heals, it restores, it gives life. So tell me, what did you learn from this story? Share your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to read from you. Another very interesting story will be uploaded in a few days. So subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification bell so you will be notified immediately. I upload the next story. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends so others can also learn from it. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.